Welcome back here to What's Cooking Today, the nation's food, wine, restaurant, and travel show. As we mentioned, Father's Day is coming up this coming weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have not remembered dear old Dad, and dear old Dad enjoys a nice adult beverage on occasion, you may want to think about some fine-aged Scotch. And from Diageo Scotch Whiskies, we have father and son, Evan Cadenac and Gregor Cadenac. Welcome to the broadcast.
Oh, thanks very much. Good to be here.
Evan,
thanks, Mike. Nice to speak to you.
Yes, good day. Now, Evan, you are dad here, and you're the master distiller. Gregor, you're a son, and you're the global brand ambassador. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Right. Yeah.
All right. So, first off, Dad, how did you get involved in Scotch whiskeys here and being a master distiller? How did it all come about?
Well, way back in 1960, my father was giving up farming, and I was looking somewhere else to go. Met a family friend and went into making whiskey. So I started with the company on the 2nd of January 1961. So in January, that'll be 50 years working in the industry.
Wow, what a milestone. That's great. That's Diageo Scotch Whiskies. And your family is located where?
I live in Westchester, New York. Just now, I came over here in 1998, got remarried in 2000, and I have a 9-year-old son up in Westchester this morning, just going off to school.
Wait.
The rest of the family are all in Scotland.
And the rest of the family are all in Scotland. So
yeah.
So and Gregor, how did you get involved?
Oh well, I think the Scotch whisky industry has been part of me since day one. I was born when Dad was making Kalila single malt in the island of Islay, and my sisters, Lorna, she was born when he was making Lagavulin on the island, and then Alison, she was born when he was making Dalwhinnie in the Highlands. So it's up in our area of Scotland. A lot of people will follow their father's footsteps. I went down the road of hotel management and then moved in to become a specialist in Scotch whisky. So now I currently work as a global brand ambassador, traveling the world and talking about the classic malts and Johnny Walker.
That's Gregor and his dad, Evan Cadenac. They are with the Diageo Scotch Whiskies. And Evan, it sounds to me like you kind of increased the family every time you came up with a new product. Did you say you have a 9-year-old son right now?
Yeah, I do have a 9-year-old.
What were you making 9 years ago? I'd like to know what you were working on at that time.
Well, I was here in New York making... we just happened to be making Robert, the pair of us.
Very nice. I'm starting to see a pattern here. I'm glad the family is growing. It's good for the rest of us with good Scotch whiskies. Now, Gregor...
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my granddaughters this week is acting as a guide at Muirvore Distillery in Scotland.
Now,
so it's another of our great whiskies.
What should we look for, Evan? You're the master distiller. What should we look for in a good Scotch whiskey? We want to pick out something great for Dad for Father's Day. What do we look for?
Yeah, well, look at your dad first and understand what he likes and his likes and dislikes. There's no point in buying him a very smoky whiskey if he doesn't like smoky whiskies. You know, smoky whiskies are like Lagavulin and Talisker, great whiskies if you enjoy a smoky whiskey. But if you're looking for something a little bit gentler, then there's Dalwhinnie and Cragganmore, which are really very, very pleasant single malt whiskies. Dalwhinnie has got nice heather honey fruitiness, and I always find in Cragganmore lovely chocolate notes in it.
Yeah.
Or if he wants a West Coast whiskey from Oban, which has got, to me, it's got lovely sort of citrus notes on it. But then you can't go wrong with a bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label. You know, I made 15 whiskies in my career, and all of these whiskies are used in the Johnny Walker Black Label blend.
Yum.
If I could kind of chime on in here on our executive producer, Jack Roberts, who considers himself something of a Scotch whiskey connoisseur.
Yeah.
He mentioned something called Johnny Walker Gold Label.
Oh, yes, Johnny Walker Gold Label.
Does Jack know what he's talking about?
Oh, yeah, he said, well, Gregor talk about that
Gregor,
one.
tell us about this. You're the brand ambassador. Brand ambassador, what is that? What do you do? You have to go talk about these different brands around the world?
Yeah, I'm the envy of all my friends. I get to travel around the world,
Yes.
staying in nice hotels and talking about some great Scotch whiskies to great people.
Well, when you come in here, we got a seat waiting for you here in the studio, and bring the gold. Now, what's this gold label that Paul mentioned?
Well, Gold Label falls into the Johnny Walker family in that kind of an indulgent area where it's a wonderful blend of 18-year-old whiskies, brought from Highlands of Scotland, some from the West Coast, some from the East Coast, and they're brought together by the master blender to create something that's got the texture of buttermilk, the sweetness of honey, the vibrancy of sea salt. There's all these wonderful kind of flavors that remind you of being at the ocean, smelling bees, honey. It's just a lovely blend that's been put together. I also like to put the Johnny Walker Gold Label into the freezer.
With the freezer?
Into the freezer, yeah. Into the freezer it goes. You leave it for at least 24 hours. You take it out of the freezer, pour it into some frosted glasses, and then when you take a sip, the tongue starts to warm up the whiskey and it flushes off the alcohol, and then you start to release all these wonderful flavors.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I tend to do that after dinner with a chocolate dessert.
Yeah, that's
it's lovely.
That's a good dessert thing over there. Apparently, Jack, it helps him sleep.
There's quite a number of
just a little bit before bedtime.
I've adopted that frozen Johnny Walker Gold Label with their signature chocolate dessert.
Boy, Dad's reaction to a bottle of Johnny Walker Gold. Boy.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely. It's beautiful. Great peachy notes coming through in it.
Now, what about this single malt and double malt and all that? What does all that stuff mean?
Well, a single malt is actually a malt whiskey that's made at one distillery. There's no such thing as a double malt other than two single malts on top of each other in a glass. A large one.
A large one is two single malts. Is that correct? That's good. I like that. Give me two single malts on top of each other.
They're either single malts or they're
double malts available.
I misunderstood that when Jack Roberts was ordering that up. It was just a sleep aid is what it was over there. So when we're starting out, if we're going to start out and, maybe we drink beer and wine or whatever, and want to get into the finer things of life, what would you, Evan and Gregor, recommend as a starting scotch?
To my mind, a great starting off one is a Johnny Walker Black Label. But my favourite barbecue recipe is Johnny Walker Red Label.
Yeah.
And ice and a lot of ginger ale.
I like that. And they do these Johnny Walker steak sauces now, too, which are out of this world. What's the website? Where can we learn more about this?
If you go on to johnnywalker.com for more information about, of course, Johnny Walker, and then also malts.com to see our portfolio of single malts. And it's quite interesting as well because it can show your listeners where to find them.
Hey, Evan and Gregor Catanach, you are welcome here anytime on the show. Thanks so much for being with us. We continue straight ahead on What's Cooking Today. What a delightful segment. CRN listeners,